And he says, Od tam sheni lama benichem et tefillin kodem et tefillah. He said, Od tam beis l'chanich tefillin kodem et tefillah. Ki l'chayra chabachoy roy l'chanichem acher tefillah. That's when you really should do that. The fee why shachat tefillin naas bebechinas mochem penimi. Now it's really not looking at our answer from previous. Sheyotzach bebechinas or makiv that really comes from an or makiv bebechinas tefillin kenoided. So it's really it was not bebechinas mochem penimim. It's mochem inside, but they break out in some way, and then they become makifim. V'ima mochim einim boim ala b'tefillah. So if they only come the time, that's when the mochim come. We know when they come after Shema and then into Shmona Esrei, Echa Tefillin B'Hoim Kodem Tefillah. So how is it that they could come before the Tefillah because they haven't come in yet? That was the original question. Says the Avsha Inyan. So he says, what's the Inyan? He said that let me see, get this right. Okay, he had Tefillin Heim B'Bria. So he says, what is it? The Tefillin wait in Bria. B'Sham Hu B'Bechinas Eilu HaMochim, and there you see that there are aspects of these. The Mochim are there. They're Mochim, but they're in Bria. Ma'osim Sheyarda B'Layla El Olam HaBria, and that's part of the Mochim that fell into Bria during the nighttime. So he says maybe there's a possibility it's a Rishimo from what was left over from yesterday. Sheyarda B'Layla B'Bria that went down into Bria. So he says over here that this is the what's the difference between this and what we said before? The brush that came before this. That's one answer. So now here's another reason. He said Od Tam Sheni. Here's another reason. Lama kad b'chot tefillin shal yad the tefillin shal rosh, the tefillin shal rosh. Even Yoshar Mochim shadocha b'kodben the mochim shalal. So then his mochim actually wind up coming before her mochim. Da ki tehidach naasin the kevach b'mochim mitzad abriya. Now this sounds like similar start from the last one. Kavavuch of its later. So the mochim were not in Itzilus; they were in Bria. Ki tefillin shal yad hu b'Bria. So we make zaz mochim, ba'olam b'chatzilus and olam b'tzilus v'achar kach nimshachim alechus. So let me see what he's saying here. The tefillim are in Bria, and then for Zer Anpin he gets his mochim, ba'olam b'chatzilus v'achar kach nimshachim alecha. Then after that they get extended down to her. V'na'asin la mochim min ha'atzilus, and then after that she gets mochim from atzilus. So it sounds like he's saying that it starts out in Bria, and then then Zeranpin gets mochim from atzilus, and then she gets mochim after that from atzilus. V'huki acher shahanchanu tefillah shal rosh. Now we put on tefillah rosh sheheba bechinas dalid mochim shalo. Shehem Daled Parshas Barosho, Shehem HaKarkafta, which represents the head, the skull. V'hiner Achakach Nimshachim Bebenim Shtei Rutzuas HaMekifim as Rosho. So he says, when the first thing is Shehem Bebechinas Daled Mochim, so he says Shehem Daled Parshas Shehem HaKarkafta. V'hem achar and then after that, nimshachim b'menim shtei rutzuos hamakifos as rosha that surround his head. So first you place this on, and then you have the straps. V'hem, that's the ones on his head. V'hem b'bechinas chug. What are they? They're between v'chasadim and gavuros. That's what the straps represent. V'nimshachim derek achri harosh, so they go around the back of the head. V'sham ana oisim kesher echad, so we make one knot there. So now you have Chesed Gevurah Tiferes representing what's on top of the head. Is a Sham Ku Kasher Kol HaSphiros Kenoided, because that brings all the Sphiros, which is the nature of Tiferes, which is the middle line. V'sham Ner Sham as Bechinas HaMalchus. So there you see that the stamped is the aspect of Malchus. Kisham Mekoma Achrei HaChazad is Zer Anpin, which is where it belongs, in the back of Zer Anpin. Connected the Tiferes Shabbat, then, and where is it? It's opposite the Tiferes. Let me read it again. V'sham Ner Sham es Bechinas HaMalchus. This is where you see the Malchus at Tiferes. That's what we mean. Kisham Makoma Achrei HaChazad is Zer Anpin. That's where you find in the back of the Chazad Zer Anpin. connected the Tiferes Shabo, opposite his Tiferes. So therefore, this place of the knot, Osim Tzuras Daled Gedolah, we make a big Daled. Why? Who so Daled shall of the name Yehuda. I don't know what this means. So he means Kanirma Zetzleno, which is something that's been referenced. We have that in mind. He said, so I'm not sure exactly what Yehuda means there. He says it's the Dalet from Yehuda, which would give you Yud K Vav K, and that's the Dalet that's in the middle of them. But it's not explained here exactly how Yehuda got into the middle of this. And then you have the two other Ritzuos go from the place where you have now Chesed, Gevurah, and Tiferes. And then he says it's the letter Daled, and the reason why it's in a Daled because it comes from the Daled in Yehuda, but it's basically the name Yud Ke Vav Ke plus a Daled, which sounds like Malchus to me, but because Daled is Malchus in other places, but doesn't say that here. So through this, so therefore, from this, you see that these straps bring down the shefa to the tefillah shad, v'na'asim sham mochin in the keva, so the chatzilus, and this makes the mochin in the keva. So basically, part of the idea is that the Zer Anpin gives to the nook. So he's saying that the tefillah sharosh really refers to the male aspect, and then it has straps that go down to the female aspect. V'inyan kashirish tefillah shal yad b'bizrocha smoli. How about that? Zayuva b'masha kosa v'idris nesel daf kuf lamed on the base. V'inyan base nikveh the berdashka. Now we did see that. I don't remember all exactly about it. So he says that the Benegev is small also from the left nostril. The day also the Israka Ruach the Chai, it's able to, from there comes, he calls it a Ruach of life that's poured down al Malka Mashiach to the Melech HaMoshiach. Shehu Nukva Dezer Anpen. It's an interesting idea. So he said, it's like a big time idea, but he said the idea that David HaMelech represents Malchus. Malchus is female. It's receptive. So what's pshat over there is that the as I saw in other places in the Eitz Chaim is that even Malchus has a male-female side to it, and so everything does. And so perhaps that's the explanation of why we're saying the Asraka Rucha, to pour out its Ruach, the high, which is the spirit of life, to the Malchus Mashiach, to the Malach, to Mashiach. And who's the Melech HaMashiach? The ultimate recipient is the Nukva Dezah. It's a very interesting concept I'd like to know more about. Now let's go to the next place. Gam Nisboyer Od Tam L'Seder Hanachas Tefillin. So here's another idea. He says Tam L'Seder Hanachas Tefillin. The reason why we put on Tefillin, right? Kavar Yudata. So we already know Tefillin who sewed. Or makif. It's a secret of the concept of or makif, a surrounding light. So you have to extend. He says actually the left arm, as mentioned in the Zohar, v'hakavana who lahoros ki zer anpin maniach smolo tachas larosha. So this whole concept that really needs to be developed. He says that this is their anpin. He puts his left arm underneath her head, the yamina, and then his right on tachbekana. That will hug her. So yad yamin hakorach etzaratzua. This is the concept of the right of the right arm or the right hand, which is responsible for wrapping the ritzuas saviv as roach small. Now exactly how that fits together, I'm not sure. Okay, so we're back here again, and now we're going to read the Tivukavonos on this. It says, now the Rav is explaining as Thomas Seder Hanachas Tefillin al pi hasod. So how it works here, the placing of the Tefillin. This is according to the Sod. Eshachat Tefillin Romazim al ha'oras habenimim shebanko min ametzach v'yatsa b'sod or makif, so we have that it comes out. Because the tefillin al zroa smoli, so small, so when you're putting the tefillin on the left arm. Yesh lahoshit es yad smolis. Now he has to extend. In other words, you do this, you actually extend. I guess he means to make it straight, your hand while you're putting it on. B'zel l'shono. So this is what it says. Kan manach tefillin shal yad. When you put on the tefillin yad, boy la'oshot the row of the small. You have to extend out your left arm. So I'm not sure what that means. The Kabbalah law to receive for her the Knesset Yisrael, which is Malchus. So in other words, does that mean to say like it's a greeting that you know this is coming, so to speak? So you stretch out your arm, and here they come. And then to tie the knot or to tie the bind, how you bind it with your right hand. Begin so the idea is like this. In the Kavanah is that while you're doing this, you're stretching out your left arm, putting the tefillin on it, and the left arm is going underneath. It's supposed to what's this word, l'kashra, kashrim yamina, begin the chabka law in order to hug her, l'kaima dechsiv, to be able to fulfill this pasuk. He says, smolo tachas the roshi, you're going to make your left arm, or your left side, underneath my head, v'yamina tach bekeni, and the one that actually does the hugging, the right one, is going to be the right hand. And the reason why is that the person should demonstrate, I guess, to be seen, as like what happens up above. In order to be able to crown her with everything. Now you see, means the right arm and the left arm is like it's completely surrounded. So so what's pshat? He said, so the idea of extending out your left arm, he is what? So what you actually have here is represents her chabad. And they're called the head of the nook. So that means us. Who kedum zer anpin kaviyachol, so we actually are like, let's say, a representative of zer anpin. For the moshitim as the yad smoli, so therefore we go and we extend out this left arm. Now let me just read that again. Who kedum zer anpin kaviyachol for the moshitim as the yad smoli. So I don't say how they go together exactly, but let's see. So therefore, in that left arm, which we're extending out now, we're going to put the tefillin on it. Kibizos nimsa, because in this we find out this. Shechayad has-smolis, tachas rosh shal the nook is underneath the head of the nook. This is the idea, is that you're putting it up, the nook, you're putting out your left arm. V'zechu remez al kach, and here's the reference here, Shazer anpen menichas is yad smolo tachas rosh the nook. This is the idea. So you're extending it out to really bring her into you. I guess that's the idea, ukamosha kasa, but it has to be underneath the head of the nook. Ukamosha kasa b'shir hashirim, he said, smola the tachas roshi, kolom shahanuk, o meri shahayada smola, has-smolis shall zer anpun munachas tachas roshi is placed underneath, that's a testimony, underneath her head. And then he says, and you'll hug me, this is a kavanah right out. V'yamino tachbekeni. So as you start to wrap the tefillin, that's the idea of your right hand hugging me. The masha kosa b'shir hashira v'chemshecha b'pasav v'yamino tachbekeni. So that idea here, who shebezos shehoyach hayumanis. So this where we see that the right hand, koreches as a retzua, does the winding of the strap that's going around the savid as ruchat smalis bezen nirmas sheyad yamin chobekes as a tefillin. So this we have the idea that it's actually, this is the concept of that you're hugging the tefillin shal yad shehir nook, which is the nook. I think this might be as far as I went, because start getting into a little more arichus. Okay, so we'll stop this here, and we'll go over, with God's help, over to the Sifra Tzidiyuta. Let me turn this